Okay, calm. All right, calm. All right, cool. I ain't gotta worry about that. The what let's see. All right, so look, how many of y'all remember I was bringing out this book on this lesson? Anybody remember this book I went over called The Indians of Bucks County 250 years ago?
Um,
Okay, calm. So this is gonna be a part two to this. So the book, now let me unblur this real quick so I can show y'all. All right, this is the book here. All right, let me unblur my screen. All right, this book here by Sarah Gilfin, right? This is the book I'm talking about. So I'm gonna just bring it up on the internet so we can read along. But it's a lot of good information in this book I brought out last time about her, doing a William Penn and what he thought about the natives here, right? And their culture and then who he thought them to be. So I found some information the other day. I literally found some information the other day. And I'm doing my research and I just found I'm like, let me see if I can, it's coming up on that time again, it is Folly Day, Thanksgiving, of our brothers and sisters. And I'm like, let me just read this book again and see if I can find something. So I'm looking at it, and I found another point in there. It was a small reference, so I looked up the reference. I looked up the reference in this book, right? Now let me see what this is about. So there's tons of small little references here at the bottom, and I couldn't decide which one to look. So I just picked one, right? I just picked one, and I went online, of course, and I found the basically I found where she got her information from on William Penn and why he thought or felt that the Lenepes and the Native Americans, of the tri-state area of New York, Delaware County, New Jersey, Rhode Island, all that stuff, all the tri-state area up here, Northeast, that he thought that they were of the tribes of Israel because of their customs and everything. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of this book, right? Just a real brief recap because I got a lot of stuff to go over. I got a lot of stuff. Hopefully I can remember everything, but well. So let's see. Let me get out of here. Get that off my screen. Thank you. Okay. All right. So this book, right? Now let me go here. Let me stop sharing real quick. Can everybody hear me okay?
uh,
Okay, all praise. So where is my okay, there we go. All right. Now we're gonna read along. In the book, this book doesn't really have much color to it anyway. So y'all not really missing out on anything. So all right, so here's the book here, right? This is the book I went over. Now it says The Indians of Bucks County 250 years ago by Sarah Gilfin Underhill. Right. It says that if the people of Bucks County could turn back along with their calendars. 250 years ago, they would find in place of their narrow, varied civilized surroundings, a vast forest teeming with wildlife and showing occasional old Indian fields and Indian villages of a few rude hutted clearings of white settlers, right? Now let's see. I'm gonna just read this next paragraph and then I'm gonna skip through. All right, because what's funny about this book is, right, and I noted this last time in part one of this. This book starts on page 7, right? And I'm like, that's what really sparked my hunt for more information. The fact that this book started on page 7, I'm like, of course, me being spiritual, Salaki, I'm like 7. That's a spiritual number of completion, right? So I'm like, man, I gotta find out what the hell is in these missing 6 pages. So that's what really sparked it. Now, let's see. I'm gonna read this next paragraph. Just a brief introduction, right? It says, time is difficult to compass when we realize the nearest of those aboriginal inhabitants to our present day, the same Neshaminy, right, flows as it did at the time of Akanikan and Tammany and their tribal brothers. Arrowheads and others of their artifacts are frequently found in the region. The deed of the first Bucks County grant of land from the red man to the great proprietor, William Penn. Right, of course, they got to, document their own people as being great, right? It says in the year 1682 can still be seen on vellum, faded and time-stained, carefully preserved among the collections of the Historical Society of Pennsylvania and the city of Philadelphia. Right, these and many other links become of still greater interest as we learn of the curious customs and history of those Indians. So this is basically the study of the Native Americans, like I said, in the Philadelphia area, the New Jersey, Delaware, New York area, pretty much this tri-state area up here, right? By the records of what we see here, William Penn, his documents, what he documented, right? So let's keep going here. Oh, what's going on? So like, hold up. Don't tell me this froze. Look at the devil. Hold up. Oh, don't tell me this page froze. Oh, this is crazy. Hold up. All right, hold up. Is it good now? Okay, cool. All right, so lucky, y'all. Page was freezing for a little bit. All right, now. So like I said, this book starts on page 7. So we're gonna go over some of the notes real quick, just a brief recap of this book of what this devil said, right? With this, William Penn. Does anybody know what William Penn was supposedly? What he was supposedly? Excellent. So, like, somebody say something? William Penn, right? Well, he was supposedly a Quaker, right? What we know today is the people that's up there in the the suburbs of Pennsylvania that are pretty much isolated from the rest of society, horse and buggies, those type of people, right? So he was a Quaker, but he also was a Christian. When you read on history on William Penn, he tried to enforce, which he did enforce, Christianity on the natives here, which we're gonna bring out at the end of this, right? Which really happened to the Lene Lenape, which we're gonna read of the Indians of the Northeast in this land, right? So it says like other early writers, William Penn erroneously believed the Indians to be the lost tribe of Israelites, describing them in his account as not unlike a straight look Jew, the type known to him in London tradition among the Bucks County Indians. Right? It says held at the ages ago, they came eastward from the Mississippi. Right? So now I'm looking, and when I read this, we're gonna read this passage in the actual book that William Penn is more stuff noted where this lady Sarah Gilfin Underhill, where she got her information from. I found the actual book where she read this about William Penn. So this book is very informational. However, she left a lot of things out, a lot of important notes and different proofs that further fortifies the so-called Native Americans, right? Our brothers and sisters of the tribe of Gad and Reuben and so forth, the Northern Kingdom, that they are of the nation of Israel, right? Which I'm gonna bring out a little later on. So now let's see. I'm just reading a little bit more of this. It says the Pennsylvania Indians were divided into two great rival groups, the Iroquois and the Algonquin. It says the more powerful Iroquois group was represented in the valley of the Susquehanna River. Right now, we know that a lot of these, and listen, when I read a lot of this, y'all gonna be like, man, this is, I never knew the names of these areas, were the names of these areas all the way back then. The same areas that you know of today had the same exact names, because of course that's what Esau does, right? Renames these areas. Sometimes they name the areas of the tribe of Indians that were, prevalent in that area or that ruled over that area, that they pretty much conquered and killed and murdered up out of that area. So they kept the name of that tribe, many times. And just like, for example, Neshaminy, right? We just read that at the beginning of this book, right? Neshaminy is a mall that we know of that's in Philadelphia, in the northeast of Philadelphia, the Neshaminy Mall, right? That is a tribe of so-called Native Americans, right? So now there's a few points to show pretty much what she kind of goes into. And then I'm going to get the book where she got her information from and show you the type of, some of the important things that she actually left out that William Penn actually mentioned and noted about the Native Americans, right? All right, so check this out. Now it says, I'm gonna read this paragraph here. It says the region embracing, right? It says the region embracing Newtown and the greater part of Bucks County was included in the inhabitant of the Unami, right? It says they were at times called the Neshamines, right? A nomen probably originated from their principal stream, the Neshaminy, alleged by some writers to be a compound of the words Nasha and Mina, meaning two streams making one by flowing together, right? Now I think I showed y'all this last time too. Now, when you look at this, I noted this what these words mean when you look them up in the Hebrew, right? Nasha, right? And I'm gonna show you real quick. Right, I noted it in the book. Now this might be reverse for you. Now this is the same book I got. I just got it physically. Now look, Nasha, the word Nasha means sprout or tooth, right? Nasha, sprout, right? Those are Hebrew letters right there. Na and Sha, right? And the other one is Mina or Mana, right? Meaning, right, a water sprout. So pretty much their names have Hebrew, dialect in it, right? Which further proves that they could be of the lost 10 tribes of Israel, which we know for a fact, but this is just further information to fortify that thought um, and that truth. So, all right, so let's go. What page is this? All right. Now, in this book, they got this on the first page, this picture, right, in the physical book, right? So this pretty much says Delaware Indian, July 15, 1682, to William Penn. Yeah, go ask mommy. Right, 1682 to William Penn for Southern Bucks County, Pennsylvania, the first of the Indian grants to him in that county, signed at the falls of the Delaware, now Morrisville, Pennsylvania, opposite of Trenton, New Jersey. Anybody know where Trenton, New Jersey is? Right, Trenton, Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Do we know these areas? Right. That's pretty much what this says right here. All right, so I just read that real quick for y'all. All right, now this next slide. Let's see. Which page is this? Subdivisions. Salakia. All right, because this is like switched for some reason. Okay, here we go. Right now, this is a great point right here, right? I noted this because just because you know, the Northern Kingdom, you know, they came over here. You know, we read via you know, Second Esdras 13, you know, that breakdown of them coming over to a land where never mankind dwelt, right? Second Esdras 13, I believe 40 something on down, right? That's the prophecy of them coming over here to the land of what they call Arsareth, right? This land was called Arsareth. Now, when they came over here, again, Israel was heavy into idolatry, right? Now, a lot of things that they, you know, they still practice, they still, you know, went into idolatry. Doesn't mean, of course, they kept, you know, a lot of the customs, you know, of their heritage or their culture. But again, just like the Northern Kingdom and just like the Southern Kingdom went in idolatry too, you know, even today. So you'll see a lot of customs that, you know, are mixed in with truth and idolatry at the same time. A lot when you read these books, you'll see a lot of things that, you know, the Native Americans practiced that you can, you know, line up with the scriptures in the Torah, right? Such as the customs and you know, sacrificial laws and stuff like that, and the way they carry themselves. And on top of that, you'll also see on the left hand, you know, different things that they're doing in, you know, the moon worship and all that other type stuff like that. You know, just like in a movie, Apocalypto, a lot of stuff like that. You know, cutting people open and all that type of stuff, and blood and taking the heart out. Like a lot of that stuff is, you know, can be likened to idolatry, right? So let me read this real quick. It says, let me go back to this last paragraph real quick because this kind of carries on, right? Now it says the Unami were the largest and most important. I'm just starting right at the bottom right here, y'all. What is Johnny Freeze again? All right, it says the Unami were the largest and most important group of the Lenni Lenape, right? And that's what we're talking about today, right? That's pretty much what the Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, that's what they name themselves in this area, right? It says therefore called grandfather by the other two, right? And there's a continuation, subdivisions. It says this was because of priority of political rank and of occupancy of central territory. It says their totem and the tortoise also signified their superiority, for they shared with the people of the old world the myth that a great tortoise, first of all, created beings, bore the earth upon its back. Right now, let me show y'all this. Right, how many people ever seen like let's see, let's see. Hmm, let's see. Right now, you see this right here? This is pretty much what they, what they believed, right? Theorized. That's what was noted, right? It says the tortoise also signified their superiority. They share with the people of the old world the myth, right, that a great tortoise, first of all, created beings, bore the earth upon his back, right? So that's your first, evidence of, idolatry and stuff like that, right? Now again, of course, many nations had their idea of how the earth looked and, you know, just a record of what the scriptures say, how the earth was created, right? So that's pretty much what that's referencing, right? Now let's go to the second paragraph. It says there was a well-established precedent of good relationship between the whites, the Swedes, the Dutch, the English, and the Indians of the basin of the Delaware in the several decades before the coming of William Penn in 1682, which solely I believe was a lie, right? I don't believe there was no, good relationship, right? Now, watch this. Now, there's another point I wanted to bring out. Let's see. I'm just recapping this book real quick. I'm not going to stay on this too long because I got to show you where she got her information from and the things that she left out from her book that was I found very important to note. Now let's see, what page is this? 9, right? 10, right? And this page 10 pretty much goes over the things that was traded, right, for the land and the stuff that Esau traded with the natives and stuff like that, right? Now this right here, I wish I could change this viewpoint. Okay, let me see. I don't think I could change this view. All right. Well, this pretty much. Hopefully, y'all can see that, right? This stone right here is still in the Northeast right now. You can find it in the Northeast, right? So it pretty much says Play Wiki, right? Indian Town, 1682 was located to the south in the valley by the Run and Springs. The chief Tammany of the Unami group, their totem, the tortoise of the Lenape or Delawares, sold to William Penn, right? The land between the Chamonix and Pennypack Creeks, right? How many people know where the Pennypack Creeks are? Right? There's a lot, right? There's a lot of Pennypack parks all over, right? Very beautiful areas. Right? It says June 23rd, 1683. That's pretty much what that says. If you can, I know you can't see it, but it's right here in the book. I don't know if I can see my screen. Right? I got it here. That's pretty much what it says. Can y'all see that? I know. Let's go to one more point I wanted to bring out in this book that she noted. Right. So many things that she noted in here. All right, now let's go to page 14. Okay, here we go. So lock it. All right, this is pretty much what that headstone said, or that that pretty much that agreement that it was sold, right? Which I don't believe it was sold. I believe they beguiled, our brothers and sisters into selling their land, with intoxication. But that's neither here nor there. And a lot of these records show that too, that a lot of Native Americans, a lot of our brothers and sisters were actually against the alcohol and the liquor that Esau brought into the land, right? So these are some of the things that were sold and traded, right? That's pretty much what it's going into. All right, it's another note, another point I wanted to know. It says, in appearance, according to Penn, right? Penn being William Penn, says the Lenape were fine specimens of humanity, species selected specimens of humanity. He describes them as generally tall, straight, well built, and of singular proportion, right? Says they tread strong and clever and mostly walk with a lofty chin. Says of complexion, black, right? See that? Says of complexion, black, but by design. As the gypsies in England, they grease themselves with bear's fat, clarified. Their eye is little and black, not unlike the straight look Jew. Right now, there's a lot of pictures that we could go and look at right now. Let me show y'all some. Right. When we look at a lot of these pictures of our brothers and sisters, they have smaller eyes, right? Let me see. Right, a lot of these pictures we can see here. I went through a lot of these pictures, man. You know what's crazy? I never thought about Pinterest and some of these doing some research, but they have a lot of Native American pictures on here, man. Right? You see this little thing with the baby in it, right? She mentions that in her book as well, describes that, right? And we see how, dark skin, long hair, right? Lofty chin, like you said, right? Now let's go back, right? It says their eye is little and black, not unlike the straight look Jew, right? In this connection, it says they were very similar to some of our contemporaries, their good looks being not entirely natural, right? Now, let's see. Now let's go. Man, yo, she left so much out because when I put a note here, where she got this from was out of the original book from William Penn, right? Now, I'm gonna start to bring that out because it's a lot I gotta go over. I don't want to go too long. I'm skipping points. So let's just start with this one, right? Now, this book, where she got it out of, okay. Let's see here. Let me minimize that. That's in the way. All right. Now it says history of Pennsylvania. Right now, you see there's no S's here. Right? Is anybody available to read? If not, I can continue. It's cool. Right? It says history of Pennsylvania in North America. It says from the original institution and settlement of the province under the first proprietor and governor, William Penn, in 1681. So after the year 1742, right? A brief description of the said province. So we pretty much, observation of the area. Right now, I'll put a note here next to this passage that we just read about the straight look Jew and their eye is little. Now, there's another thing she left out where she got that reference from, right? In this book right here, Bucks County 250 years ago, Indians of Bucks County, right? So let's go to 251, right? And it's crazy because when I read this, it was so many references I didn't even look. I was looking for a lot of these references and I couldn't really decide on which one to pick because there was so many and I just picked one. And I was telling the elder, I'm like, man, I was up late and I found the exact one, the exact reference and volume that she got this, account from. Right. Now let's see. I made a notes here. Salakia. I'll find this again. All right. Let's see. 250. It might be down here. Salakia, bear with me, y'all, while I find this. See this page. 51. Oh, Salakia. I'm on the wrong page, Salakia. I'm on 246. Forgive me. All right, 251. Here we go. All right. Now let me just go for context. This is 250, right? Now you can see a lot of these are like bullet points to let you know what's it going over on the side of these in these paragraphs, right? All right, so it's pretty much describing the area and also the natives here, right? So it says the creatures for profit only by skin or fur and that are natural to these parts are the wildcat, panther, other wolf, fox, sither, minx, muskrat, and of the water, the whale for oil, of which we have good store, and 2 companies of whalers whose boats are built will soon begin. Right now, it's a little difficult to read this because there's no S's in this. It looks like an F. So forgive me if I'm fumbling over this. All right, so it says their work, which had the appearance of a considerable improvement, to say nothing of our reasonable hopes of good cod in the bay. All right, now let's see. Pretty much. All right, it says there are diverse plants that not only the Indians tell us, but we had occasion to prove by swellings, burnings, cuts, etc., and etc., that they are of great virtue, suddenly curing the patient. And for smell, I have observed several, especially one, the wild myrtle, the other I know not what to call, but are most fragrant, right? Now this is just talking about, a lot of the healing processes and the things that we use to heal ourselves. Right now, this is the point I wanted to tell y'all. Right now, look over here to the right, right? It says, of the Indians or Aborigines. Right, y'all see that over here to the right? Now it says, thus much of the country next of the natives or Aborigines, right? The natives I shall consider in their persons, language, manners, religion, and government with my sense of their original. Right? It says for their persons, they are generally tall, straight, well built. Right? Now we just read that. We just read that in this lady's account of this book. Right? Well built. Look, it says generally tall. Y'all see that right here? Y'all still with me? I know I'm just talking right now. Everybody following? Okay, con. It says straight, well built, and of singular portion. Right now, she made the note how they walk, right? Complexion, black, right? Now let's see what she left out of this account that she didn't note in hers. Oh shit, Salakia. Oh, what happened? Okay. Salakia, oh my bad. All right, it says original. It says for their persons, they are generally tall, straight, well built, and of singular proportion. It says they tread strong and clever, and mostly walk with a lofty chin, of complexion black, but by design, right? Pretty much the same exact thing we reading, right? She quoted that out of this book, right? As the gypsies in England, it says, uh, they grease themselves with bear's fat, clarified and using no defense against sun, right? No defense against sun, or whether their skins must needs be swarthy, right? How many people know what swarthy means, right? Swarthy, right? That's the
Black.
name of who's that?
It's the
Go ahead.
powder.
Go ahead,
It
the bottom.
means it means dark or black.
Right. You see that? Swarthy. Okay. It says skins must needs be swarthy, right? It says their eye is little and black, not unlike a straight looked Jew. It says, now this is what she left out, right? Look how clever this damn devil is, right? She said the the thick lip and flat nose, right? Now where is that in her account? Right? It's not mentioned, right? That's something she left out, right? Now she put, that it was good that she put in the complexion is black, blah blah blah, of course, but things like this, needed to be noted, right? Because Esau liked to change translation and you know used special type of wording, and it could have been this, could have been that, you know, could have been they could have covered themselves with mud and all this other BS or clay, and but no, it says the thick lip. Is Esau Edom known for having thick lips? Right, black, swarthy, right, thick lipped and a flat nose. Hell no. Right, it says so frequent with the East Indians and blacks. Now look, it was a difference. It was a difference, right? It says so frequent with the East Indians and blacks. Now, a lot of the Native Americans were classified as black, which I'm gonna show y'all a brief video a little later on. It ain't that long, it's like 20 something minutes. I don't want to be on too long because I'm gonna have to do a part three to this because there's so much information. I'll be here till damn near 3 o'clock in the morning to pretty much get it all out. But um, let's just keep going. It says East Indians and blacks are not common to them, for I have seen as comely European like faces among them both, as on your side of the seas, and truly an Italian complexion, right, hath not much more of the white. Now, let's see. This is a great point too, right? Their language, right? This is a powerful point. Their language, right? Mind you, this is all pretty much a first-hand account of the Native Americans by William Penn. Right? It says their language is lofty, yet narrow, but like the Hebrew. Right? Now let's see if I don't think she said that. Right? I don't think she said that. Now let's go back to hers, right? Here we go, right? She went to talking about the skin and skipped some stuff, talking about the infants. Now let's see what Sarah said, right? She said the language of these people resembles shorthand, one word served in place of three, the rest being supplied by the hearer's understanding, although imperfect in tense, wanting in moods. Salaki, forgive me, I'm having a dumb moment right now. Participles, adverbs, and conjunctions. The language was beautiful and forceful, William Penn said of it. I know not a language, right? of more sweetness or greatness in ancient or emphasis than theirs. It says he then proceeded to give examples of sweetness like Anna, meaning mother, and Netap, meaning friend. Among the examples of sweetness and greatness, he mentions Rankokas, right? Let's see. All right, now let's see her account, what she left out of what William Penn said of this. Now, firstly, you see right here immediately, it says their language is lofty yet narrow, but like the Hebrew. But what did she say? Why didn't she say that? The language of these people resembles shorthand, one word served in place of three. She pretty much made up her own explanation, left out that it resembled the Hebrew, which William Penn noted. It says insignification, full, like shorthand and writing, one word served in the place of three. Now, why did she skip that? Right? Why do y'all think she skipped that and filled in all his filler words and then jumped back into what he said? Right? Why do y'all think she did that? Right? Said one word in the place of three. Right? Now let's keep reading. It says, like shorthand and writing, one word served, right? Served in the place of three. And the rest are supplied by the understanding of the hearer. Imperfect in their tenses, wanting in their moods, participles, adverbs, conjunctions, interjections. I have made it my business to understand it, that I may not want an interpreter on any occasion. So William Penn made it a note that he learned these things, right? He wanted to study the language of the so-called Native Americans, so he didn't need an interpreter, right? Now, ultimately, this is how a lot of our brothers and sisters got beguiled, because again, they were so welcoming and teaching them all types of things, how to survive in this land, right? And of course, what Esau Edom does, he divides and conquers. He come in, infiltrate, and learn everything about you, and then learn how to destroy you, right? So now let's see. It says, I have made it my business to understand it, that I may not want an interpreter on any occasion. And I must say that I know not a language spoken in Europe that hath words of more sweetness or grace. So pretty much saying the same thing, right? So certain things that she left out. Okay. Now I found that to be, a very important point, but she left that out. Right now, another point that she spoke in this, right? I found this just to be funny. Now she talked about the children, right? He mentioned about the kids. Okay, and we just looked at the children, right? Okay, Lenape tribe. This is one of our brothers and sisters from the Lenape tribe, right? And we can see them, right? Do they look like fair-skinned people? No. Right? There's one picture I wanted to show y'all. Look like one of my aunts. A grandfather. Right? Got the fringes. All right, now let's go. I'm gonna read this real quick. It says the infants, right? The infants or papooses, says Penn, while very young and in cold weather, the parents plunge into the rivers to harden and embolden them. Having wrapped them in a clout, they lay them on a straight, thin board, a little more than the length and breadth of the child. The board being covered with soft fur, adds Flat Faulkner. Swaddled to the board, the papooses were carried on their backs of their mothers, thus being straight when older, and incidentally flat-headed in the back. Also, when they were children, their skin was smeared with fat, and then they were placed in the sun to brown. Light complexions were considered indicative of weakness. Now that's heavy, y'all. That is heavy. He said light complexions were indicative of weakness, man. It's crazy, right? Now let's see. Let's see. Yeah. Now, talking about the children. We talked about that. Now let's go back to William Penn. Okay. Let's see what he said about this. Right. Children, right? Very young, cold weather. Okay. Plunge them in the rivers to harden and embolden them. Right. Blah, blah, blah. So, before the Indians have flat heads, right? Let's say carry them on their backs. No children will go very young at 9 months. Commonly, right? Commonly, they wear only a small clout around their waist. I believe that's. Yeah, see that the S is where there was. Yeah, I don't know. It's got the F got me. The FS got me. It says till they are big. If boys, they go fishing till ripe for the woods. It says which is about 15. It says then they hunt, and after having some proofs of their manhood by a good return of skins. All right, now let's see. All right. Now that's pretty much some points I wanted to bring out too. Now, the most important point I wanted to bring out about this book, some things that she noted in this book, about William Penn and how he knew that a lot of these tribes, or if not all of the tribes that he came across, were of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Right? Let's see. I believe it's
Slakia.
page. Go ahead, King.
I just wanted to bring out that with these devils, they're very crafty. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily what they say; it's like what they don't say.
Right.
Leaving out just key words,
Right.
could change the dynamic of the whole, paragraph or point that they're trying to make.
Right.
And William Penn, we said that reminds me of like Eminem. You know what I mean? I'm gonna learn the language. I'm gonna get close to these people, and now he's the king of some people say he's the king of rap, and he's able to take down other, he thinks he could take down other prominent Israelite rappers, not Israelite, I'm talking about black rappers.
Right.
And like the same thing, like I said, be able to speak the language and like, oh look, he says yo, you know what I mean? He's down, he says this, he says that, you know what I mean? Sure, it's like nothing new under the sun. So the natives are like, well, he speaks our language. And one thing I know about William Penn was it wasn't necessarily him, even though they're all devils, but the worst came with his children. You know what I'm saying? So as they're like, oh, he's not that bad. He speaks our language. He says he wants to live peaceful with us. And then his children came in like, nah, that was my dad. I got nothing to do with that. All treaties are off. So even, if you thinking like, they're not that bad, but it's just, they're born from the womb, they're wicked. So as soon as he comes out, it's like, I want to take over everything. And that's exactly what they did, Yes.
Now look at this. Can y'all see my screen? Is this picture big enough for y'all to see? I want to zoom in here. So let me see if I can. Now look at this. This looks like, elderly Jake, or what we think is Jake, right? Because look, brother Uriel thought he was a Judite at a point in time, or for a split second, but he realized, he's a Native American or a Gadite. Okay, a lot of different, so-called black people, Israelites, they identify with, the Native American tribes, a lot of the cultures. But, of course, because of Esau, Edom, and the devil that he is, he classified a lot of them, took away the names of the tribe and just classified a lot of Native Americans that were actually here before they came here as black. That's pretty much what he did, right? Along with his counterparts. So, of course, you wouldn't know that you're Native American because, during that time when they were conquering, a lot of the Northern Kingdom here, this is what they look like, right? This is what we look like. And this lady here, she like my aunt right here. And I would have never thought that, we was actually Native American instead of I'm starting to have second thoughts seeing these pictures. I don't know. I haven't done my genealogy yet. But
Slocky, can you expand it if possible?
let me see. Let's see. Hold up. Which one you want to see? This one
Well,
or
you know what? Let me. I'm gonna change my viewpoint. Maybe that's what it is.
you turn your phone long
Slocky.
ways?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. This elderly brother right here. Let me go back to the other one, Salakia. This is the full picture here. And then again, there's a lot of people missing off to the left, to the right, actually. So it may not be it's not the full picture. But let me go back. Salakia, my bad. I'm open this back up for you. All right, I think that's the closest I can zoom in. Hold on, let me see. There we go. Never mind. There we go. My IT coming in, y'all. Right now, look. Let me slide this over. All right, look at some of these people, y'all. They're like some of your cousins. Grandfather, grandmother, aunts, uncles, siblings.
Salakia, that short guy on the left hand side, he looked just like my grandfather, the one with the glasses on, but his hair
Yeah.
is shorter. Yeah, he looked like my grandfather. I want to show y'all a picture.
God. Yeah, right. This is Gad. This is Reuben. Right? Right. Of course, they classified them as slaves, got the fringes. Okay. Fringes with the border. Of course, a white man got to colonize and destroy our people. So they got our, brothers and sisters wearing it, their attire. Got the brothers wearing the death man suit. This brother looks stressed out, man. Right? Let me see.
Salakia, real quick, I'm gonna show you a picture.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna show y'all a picture. I'm gonna flip my screen around. Where's it at? How you do that? Can I flip my screen around? All right. This is my grandfather. That man looked like my grandfather. To me, he do. He just got shorter hair. Wait up. It's taking a minute. And this picture also is my great. You see the nose and the face? Can y'all see that? And this is my great grandmother. That's of course is me. And like That's my great-great-grandma, my grandmother's grandma. You can see her nose and her hair.
Mm,
Her hair
damn.
was really long. That's her, yeah.
God,
And then you see the skin and the flat nose.
God,
And that's me, her holding me.
God. Dang. Yeah, man. But yeah, see, brother, brother found out his heritage. You know, a lot of us may not be Judites. You know, we rep Judah. No, we need to say God. We don't know yet, man. We don't know yet till that time coming. You know, we get sent to that gate. You know, if it be the Lord's will. You know, we make it to that point. You see, to see what gate, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I actually be a little. I would be a little intrigued to see what gate I would be at. You know, but right now I'm resonating with Judah. But you know, there's a lot of our people that don't know, you know, where they come from. You know, that they may have been of, you know, the people that were already here before Esau, you know, so-called discovered this land. Right now, one point I wanted to know too, which you know, which I thought was very, very intriguing. Right now, let's go to page 15. Let's go to page 15. Actually, you know what? No, let me bring out this point. Because we doing good all the time. I don't want this to be too long. Now, let's go to page 16. Now, watch this. Look what William Penn said about the Lenape, right? Now, watch this. It says the justice, right? This middle paragraph says the justice they have is pecuniary. It says in case of any wrong or evil fact, be it murder itself, they atone by feast, right? And presents in presence of their wampum. It says the wampum which they use as money was described by Faulkner as being white and black, like a kind of enamel, right? Now, I just want to make that point right there about, you know, their customs, right? Now, let's get down to the second paragraph. Right, it says many of the characteristics of the Indians, forgive me, it says were admirable. Penn was impressed by their unselfishness. Pay or presents I made them, he wrote, were not hoarded by the particular owner, but subdivided among the dependents, the kings hardly leaving themselves an equal share with one of their subjects. Right now, that show you, you know, how much brotherly love it was between those tribes, right? So if you gave a present to any of them, you know, even the supposed leader or the chief, you know, he was shared amongst, you know, the lowest ones, you know, because again, he didn't put himself above you know, like we see today in society. Like you can't even get to, you know, your Christian pastor. You can't talk to him in the same day. You know, we can't get to the president. You got to go through all these people. No, it wasn't like that, right? But he says hardly leaving themselves an equal share with one of their subjects. It says they care for little because they want but little. And the reason is a little contents them, right? A little contents them, right? They didn't need much to live, right? Not being greedy and or hoarding anything like that, right? Now, this is a point I wanted to show you. And then we're gonna get into the videos and a couple more points, and then you know, I'm gonna have to close this out and do a part 2 to this, right? Of you know, William Penn's biography and you know, him noting the customs of the Native Americans. All right, it says their worship, right? This is very, very, very great point here. Watch this. It says their worship, I'm pretty sure I already read it, as Penn wrote, consists of 2 parts, sacrifice and cantico. It says their sacrifice is their first fruits, right? The first and fattest buck they kill, goeth to the fire where he is all burnt, right? With a mournful ditty of him that performeth the ceremony, their cantico performed by round dances, sometimes words, sometimes song, then shouts, two being in the middle that begin and by singing, right? Now, let's go to William Penn's account. Now, you see what's listed here, right? Do y'all think she left a lot out of what William Penn said? Who thinks she left a lot out of there? You think she left a lot? Now let's see what she left out of there. Let's see what she actually left out of there, right? Now let's go to where we at? Let's go to page 256, right? Where we at? We at 254, right? And look, there's a lot of stuff that you can read through here, you know, about his his further discoveries, right? Now it's 255 and 256, right? Now let's read this. Right, 256. Okay. Oh, select it. All right. Okay. Here we go. Got it. Now you see, now this helps. I almost forgot. See on the left-hand side, it says of their religion and etc. On the left-hand side, y'all see that? Right? Now it said these poor people are under a dark night in things relating to religion. It says to be sure the tradition of it, yet they believe a God and they believe in God, and immortality. It says without the help of metaphysics, it says for they say there is a great king that made them who dwells in a glorious country. It says to the southward of them, right? And that the souls of the good shall go thither. All right. It says where they shall live again. Right. Now this is this is biblical. This last part, right? Saying that we shall live again. Right. They knew about reincarnation or regeneration. Right. We do live again, right? Every 3 or 4 generation. Okay. Regeneration is a thing in the scriptures, and a lot of the prophets knew of that. Okay. Um, just a quick note, John chapter 9, right? About the man that was born blind. John 9. Y'all can read that. Who did sin? His mother, his father who sinned, right? Why was he born blind? That's judgment, right? That could have been for his past life. Just a quick note, but just to prove that, we do live again, and live out this judgment under the sun, right? And let me just bring that out real quick. Right, let's go to what I want. Let's go to second address. No, Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Right, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter. Let's see. Wisdom of Solomon. What? That's not what I want. I think it was second address. I'll come back to it. So, let me see if I got it up here, John. Forgive me, y'all. Bear with me. All right. Yeah, it is second address. Salakia. Second address 14. Right, second Ezra 14. And let's see, verse 35, what it says here. Right. And this is what happens. Okay, second Ezra 14 and 35. It says, "For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. Then shall the names of the righteous be manifest." Right. So after death, we get judged, or not in our second life when we live again. Right. That's when that happens. Okay. Now let's see. Let's continue here. And there's some more points on this. We're doing good on time, right? Now let's continue reading here and see what William Penn further noted about the Native Americans, on this side. All right, it says, let's see. It says their worship consists of two parts: sacrifice and contigo. Their sacrifice, their first fruits, the first of the fattest buck they kill goeth to the fire, where he is all burnt with a mournful ditty. Right, pretty much the same thing what Sarah was saying. Okay, now let's see. Now watch this. Watch this. Okay, and then let's see. Now, there's a lot, man. It's so much in this book, y'all. There's so much in this book, man. When you read this book too, right? You'll see how William Penn wanted to enforce Christianity on them and give them sanctions and laws to where they had to be nice to the Christians, right? William Penn came over here, right here to go right here. Look, it says to love the Christians. Pretty much, what's this page 258, right? Well, let me speed up and go to this point here in 260. Now this is where everything is coming to understanding of who these people really are, right? Now, I don't know if y'all saw that already, but I'm gonna just read the previous page just for context, right? It says, watch this. It says of their original, right? It says original, but of their origin, right? Now watch. It says, for their original, I am ready to believe them of the Jewish race. I mean, of the stock of the 10 tribes. And that for the following reasons: first, they were to go to a land not planted nor known. Hold up, y'all. Listen, man. If this ain't listen, if this ain't proving that the Native Americans are of the 12 tribes of Israel, I don't know what is, bro. I don't know what is. But look, it says, let's see. And now this prophecy is talked about where? Right? How does he know about this? How does William Penn know about? And what you tend to see with a lot of these a lot of these people that came over and colonized, so-called explorers, you'll see that they all know about the 10 tribes. They all know about this prophecy. They all know of the Jews. They all know of a people that was lost, right? You'll tend to notice that. But who knows what prophecy? Who can tell me what prophecy he's mentioning right now?
Second, was it? Yeah, second Ezra's, right?
Kind of second Ezra's what?
13 and I just Highlight.
I quoted at the beginning, right? Yeah, 2nd Esdras 13.
13 and 40.
Come. Right? 2nd Esdras 13 and 40. Now, how did William Penn know this? Right? He knew about this, right? 2nd Esdras 13 and 40, it says, it says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oshea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Right? What was this land? It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. Right? So this is how they did it. Right? But William Penn knew that. He knew exactly what they were. Once he started observing these people, he knew 2nd Esdras. He read this book, unless it was word of mouth and a tale that he just knew from someone teaching him. But how did he know this prophecy? How did he come to the conclusion that these are the people that fits the prophecy of 2nd Esdras 13? Right? It says, first, they were to go to a land not planted nor known, which to be true, which to be sure, Asia and Africa were, if not Europe, right? So he wasn't too sure, and he that intended that extraordinary judgment upon them might make the passage not uneasy to them, as it is not impossible in itself from the easternmost parts of Asia to the waterfront, from the westernmost, Salaki, this S is messing me up, from the westernmost of America. In the next place, I find them of the like countenance, and their children of so lively resemblance, that a man, right now, check this out, y'all. And we're going to see a name. You'll probably already see it, but we see a name that we see in the scripture, right? Of a man would think himself in Duke's Place, right? Or Berry Street in London. It says, when he seeth them, but this is not all. They agree in rights, right? Further talking about the customs, right? Now watch this. It says the resemblance of the Jews and etc., right? It says they reckon by moons. They reckon by moons, y'all. What does he mean by that? Anybody tell me what he means by that?
New moon feast.
Right. How did this? That's how we tell what time of year it is, right? When the feasts are coming in, right? When the new moon is coming up, when the new year is coming, the first day of the month. Okay, it says they offer their first fruits. They have a kind of a feast of, what does that say right there, y'all? Tabernacles. Y'all see that? They have a kind of feast of tabernacles. So like, I gotta drop a bomb for that, bro. This is heavy, and this is like juggernaut information right here. You know, I gotta print this out for camp in this time. You know, this is information right here where you can't gainsay this, really. This is firsthand, William Penn, who they love and they name a lot of buildings and the whole damn state after this man. This is his first account of these people, right? It says they are said to lay their altar upon 12 stones, yo. Y'all see that, yeah? Do y'all see this? I know, is Uriel the only one that's saying this with me?
And I'm saying cheesing because I was about
Go,
to
man.
keep reading.
It says they're mourning Salakia. It says they're mourning a year, customs of women, right? It says with many other things that do not occur. So much for the natives. Next, the old planters will be considered in this relation before I come to our colony and the concerns of it, right? Now, this is just talking about all the other people that came here amongst William Penn, his counterparts, right? The fellow colonizers, right? The Dutch, the Swedes, right? Um, it's a lot of stuff that you can see in this book that goes on, man. Different laws and stuff that he wanted to have happen and all types of stuff. But these are the points I just wanted to bring out in this book, man. But yeah, man. These are our brothers and sisters, y'all. Right? Native Americans are of the tribes of Israel. The lost 10 tribes of Israel, man. Right? Look at our brothers and sisters here, man. Look at our brothers and sisters here. Right? Now, I know it's getting late. I'm going to show y'all one more source. I'm going to show y'all one more source, and then I'm going to show y'all a video, and then I'm going to wind it down. All right. Sit over here. What? All right, now check this out. It was one more source I found about let's see, Salakia. It's called The Aborigines, the Aboriginal Races of North America. Okay. This is another book. All right. The Aboriginal Races of North America, right? Biographical sketches of eminent individuals, an historical account of the different tribes. All right. The first discovery of the continent. Now, oh, my bad. Salakia. All right, now watch this. And now look. This is my last source I'm gonna show y'all. It's maybe one or two last sources, right? Now this is a count, okay, one of these colonizers giving record of the Israelites, right? So I'm gonna start right here. It says, if any observation to be made, their manners and dispositions, it's easier to say from what nations they did not than from who they did derive their original, right? Now, throughout, time and language and, speech and etymology, of course, that would be origin. They shorten it to origin, but they say original. Don't let that confuse you, all right? So it says, doubtless their conjecture who fancy them to the descendant from the 10 tribes of the Israelites carried away captive by Salmanazar and Esarhaddon had the least show of reason of any other, there being on footsteps to be observed of their. So like I gotta zoom in a little more. Oh, that's too much. All right, propinquity of them more than any other of the tribes of the earth. either as their language or manners. It says this Arthur was one of the best historians of his times, and generally he writes
What the hell?
with as much. You want to say something, sis?
Oh no, I'm just trying to understand why it was on the wrong thing. Oh, I'm back. My bad. My mic got unmuted.
Okay. All right. It says he writes with as much discernment upon other matters, as upon this. Right. So this is a couple points where you know, they thought that these people again were of the 12 tribes, right? The lost 10 tribes. And watch this. Now watch this. One more point. I'm gonna show y'all a quick video. Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, get on my head, man. Right now, a lot of these sources, some of them got angry. You can tell their frustration with some of their counterparts doing this studying. Okay. They didn't want them studying, they wasted time studying it, whether these people are of the Jews or not. We could be doing so many other things, right? Just for this source, for instance, right? What page is this? Let's just look at this real quick. This will be my last one for right now. It's getting late. Then I'm gonna show y'all a 20-minute video if y'all want to watch it or not. I know it's late. Hope y'all still with me. All right, now I'm gonna start right here. It says, let's zoom in a little more. Can y'all see this? Am I
Con.
okay, Con? Do I need me to zoom in a little more? All right. It says the above remark is cited to show how different people make up their minds upon the same subject. It says it shows how futile it is for us to spend time in speculating upon such matters. And as I have before observed, it is time enough to build theories after facts have been collected. It can add nothing to our stock of knowledge respecting our antiquities to talk or write forever about Nebuchadnezzar and the lost tribes of Jews. Right? This is frustration, right? Because it's like a what do they call that? What's that term? Wonder of the world, right? It's like what's the secret? Like the biggest secret on earth. Who are the Jews? That's like the biggest thing to find out right now. Who are the actual people of God? And during this time is been a thing too. During the time of this book being written. In the early 1600s, late 1600s, right? When it was talked about so much, you see, they get frustrated. Why are we talking about this? We could be doing all these other things. We know about the story. We know about the lost 10 tribes, right? Now he mentioned Nebuchadnezzar, right? Second Kings, right? Let's just go there real quick. Right? They know this book, man. That's what you gotta understand about these a lot of these devils. They know this book just as much, if not more, than we do, right? Now look, 2 Kings 17. 2 Kings chapter 17, right? It says, now that first source I showed y'all mentioned Salmanassar, right? It says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, the king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the king of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Salmanassar, king of Assyria. Right? Now let's go to chapter 20. Now, when you read that chapter, just for the sake of time, you'll see how we disobeyed and we went into captivity. Right? Chapter 24. 2 Kings chapter 24 as well. right? In his days, verse 1, it says, in his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him, right? Now let's jump down to verse 12. It says, let's go to verse 11. It says, and Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. And Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers. And the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of the Lord, as the Lord hath said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. So that's pretty much that prophecy that we read about. What, these people know about King Nebuchadnezzar and Solomon-Ezra, right? They know about this. They know about our history, right? And so did William Penn. Okay, now everybody want to focus on Christopher Columbus. There's a lot of other devils out here that are, lifted up in high status and talked about that they made us learn about in high school and middle school and social studies class, learning about these devils. And, they knew exactly who we were this whole time. Right? Now, did they have books like this in the history class? Hell no. Why would they do that? Right? They would never do that. Okay, but yeah, man. These are our brothers and sisters. This is our family. Right? Got the fringes with the border. Yo, man. This is so surreal, y'all. Like, I'm just in awe at, all of this. Like, between me being woken up, the Most High so graciously choosing me out of the world and teaching me these things, via his servants, bring me under Zabak and just learning who I am, man. Learning all this information, y'all. I don't know if y'all feel the way I do, but yo, man, I'm just in awe, bro. Like, I'm just astounded. I'm excited. I'm grateful to just learn this information and just see how all these things are being revealed in this time, man. But let me show y'all a couple videos, and we're gonna wind it down. Just like it. All right, how many of y'all enjoyed that information? Did y'all enjoy that information? All right, all praises, man. That's all that matters. All right, now let's go. I'm gonna show y'all this real quick. Real short video. Is it this one? I think it's this one. It's actually 17 minutes, y'all. Even better. He would have died off. Now let me share my screen. Wait, where is it? Okay, here we go. You good on sound? You don't hear it?
2020 marks the 400th year since the Mayflower arrived to Plymouth. Descendants of those who greeted the Pilgrims in Plymouth still live in a small town on Cape Cod called Mashpee.
I'm Alexandra Lopes-Pocknet. I am Mashpee and a sonnet band Wampanoag.
I'm Kobe Howerton and I'm Mashpee Wampanoag. I'm Annika Alvarez. I'm a Sonnet Wampanoag, and I'm also Apache and Aztec. And it's my daughter, Sochi Blue Peters, and she's a Sonnet and Mashpee Wampanoag, and she's also Apache and Aztec.
My name is Deja Peters. My native name is Rising Waters, and I'm a member of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
My name is Nakia Hendricks. I'm Mashpee Wampanoag.
I'm Lavoy Foster. I'm a member of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
My name is Xavier Jones.
Darius Maximus Isaiah Burgo, Mike Concha.
Janae Perry.
Morgan Peters. Adam Jonas Jr.
Talia Mashkwasat Manuneshk.
One word that I would associate with Thanksgiving is confusing.
Love.
Gratitude. I think gratitude is just ingrained in us as a people. Like one time my auntie said, we're a loving people. And she said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way that we are.
Family.
Ancestors. Murder. Try to extinct the Native Americans.
Remembrance. I think we have to remember the truth behind it.
Love and healing.
Resilience.
Unpaid reparations.
Awful. It wasn't even a national holiday. It wasn't even a real holiday until John Winthrop, he said it was Thanksgiving. We're going to call this day Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was an honoring of killing 700 Pequots, slaughtering men, women, and children. So they picked that day as the day of celebration for that.
When I grew up in school, I was taught about Thanksgiving, but I really wasn't taught much. And so the stuff I was taught was just kind of one chapter in a history book, and it really didn't go into depth much. But then when I would go home and talk to my native, my family, my aunts and uncles, they would tell a more dark side of history. And so growing up, it was kind of difficult to decipher like the truth versus the myth.
I don't really call it Thanksgiving. I call it Day of Mourning because, that day is like we honor and we mourn our ancestors that we lost when the colonizers came over and brought diseases and systemic racism.
We healed the people a group of people that was really weak and not the best, and we doctored them back to life and shared our resources and showed them things and helped them survive.
Thanksgiving is a perfect time to spend quality time with your family and enjoy their presence.
I think of family because I come from a big family, and that was the only holiday that we all got together.
Not everything is bad depending on the perspective and the context. I love when family comes together and friends come together and the spirit is lifted and it's high and it's in a good place. So outside of the label, Thanksgiving, it's a beautiful time.
When you think of the first Thanksgiving, I think that most people don't realize that it's Wampanoag people. So the fact that we have like this astounding national holiday, but we don't even know the source of the people that it came from is disheartening. The overall like mental capacity and emotional capacity that it takes to carry yourself as a Native person in a modern society, it's not hard to be thankful, but it is difficult to see when do we receive what we've given over 400 years for everyone else to receive.
In order for us to welcome the newcomers, such as the Pilgrims on the Mayflower, we needed to remain resilient because what they brought over was something that was going to detriment us our entire lives and our entire people. So in order for us to even stay living and stay thriving and actually be stewards of this land, because that's what we are, and without us here, there would be no America, we needed to stay resilient.
All right, Salaki, y'all. Y'all still with me? Salaki, y'all. Now, I said this is one I really wanted to show y'all. Actually, Salaki. This is one I really wanted to show y'all. Let's see here. Now this is one I need y'all to tune into, and then this is the last one. You gotta hear what this brother says. Now this is very crazy too, because you'll see how this sister here, you know, she really, a lot of people think that, you know, black people just are black. We just niggas. That's it. You know, they don't know that. They don't know this history that I'm showing y'all. Right. And this sister is one of them. She's interviewing two Gadites. Two of them, you know, skin complexion is a little different. One's darker, one's lighter. She just thinks the other one's is a fraud, you know, and don't believe him on his claims. Right. So check this out.
And Walter Ashby Plecker forever changed the relationship between Native Americans and African Americans in Southampton County, Virginia. Please welcome to another view Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown, Chief of the Cherenhaka Nottoway Tribe, William Spread Eagle Howell, War Chief of the tribe, and Dr. Tommy Bozier, historian at Norfolk State University. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, Barbara. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Now, I wanted, before we get into the details of Mr. Plecker and kind of what happened, because basically your tribe has experienced what's some called documentary genocide. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of the tribe.
Well, as you're aware, in 1912, Dr. Walter Plecker became the first director of the Bureau of Vital Statistics. Prior to that, there were no birth certificates, and he was a director up until the 1940s, 1946, until his death. But he was part of the eugenics movement, which was a movement about creating one race of people, which was white, and everything else was put in a pot, as Tina Marie would say, and stir it up and called colored. But he went beyond board on that, wherein as far as first Americans are concerned, he changed birth certificates and marriage license. He even put out letters to census takers in 1930 that people such as myself that are first Americans and Native Americans, that he considered us as being bastards, that we were just trying to be Indian to marry into the white race. What's so interesting about that was that in the 30s, he gave a presentation in New York City and on eugenics, and there were commanders associated with Adolf Hitler that attended that particular meeting.
But basically, when he was the registrar for the Bureau of Vital Records, he changed the names of Indian people in Southampton County, their race, from Indian to Negro or colored.
Well, it was referred to as colored, and basically all the tribes in Virginia in the early 1900s were referred to as colored. Okay, then after the 1924 Racial Integrity Act, everything that was in that colored bowl became Negro. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why in 1968.
Oh yeah, so like let me figure out this volume. I don't know why it's so low.
In 1968, the Supreme Court overthrew that Racial Integrity Act and gave Native Americans the right, if they were born before July 1960, to come forward to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and correct those records that had been changed.
But now your tribe was in Southampton County, well before all of this.
Of course.
Okay.
Matter of fact, our history really dates back, according to some archaeologists, to 900 AD. But we have a archaeological dig that was done in Southampton County, which dates back, carbon dated, to 1580. In that particular dig, it's called the hand site dig, and it's called catalog 44SN22. 131 skeletal remains of my ancestors were dug up, and they're now laying in shoe boxes in the Smithsonian. One of the goals that we have with our Caddis-Harright town that we're putting together is to have those reinterred, brought back to the county. But What's so interesting about that is that one of the grave remains has been carbon dated to be a colonial lady, about 25, 26 years old. And in her grave, it was 6 foot buried, 6 foot down. There was her sewing kit, her comb, and also the scissors, which are on file at the Department of Historical Resources in Richmond, Virginia. So the history is documented. We are the only tribe in the Commonwealth of Virginia that ever had a gubernatorial mandated special census. As you know, the census is done every year starting 1790, every 10 years. There was a special census done in Southampton County in Cortland, Virginia, at that time was called Jerusalem, wherein the trustees of the reservation went out and actually recorded the names of individuals living on the reservation, even though they didn't document everybody living there because they coined this term matrilineal. And if the woman was a mulatto, or if the woman was referred to as free people of color, and if the male was a Cherokee, they didn't count the children. So they coined matrilineal instead of patrilineal. But the history is very rich there in Southampton County.
Now, War Chief Howell, if someone looked.
And Salakia, you know, we know that is, the father, it goes by the father, right? Numbers 1 and 18, right? That's just an instance where, they went off sometimes. There's a lot of these so-called Native Americans, our brothers and sisters, they changed what to go by matrilineal, by the father, by the mother. But in the scriptures, it says, it's determined by the house of the father. Numbers 1 and 18, it says, and they assembled all the congregations together on the first day of the second month, and they declared the pedigrees after their families by the house of the fathers, right? According to the number of their names, right? So that's just a note I wanted to slide in right there, but I'll keep playing.
Looked at you right now, they would say that you were African American, would they not? Now, your grandfather, though, was supposed to have been, according to records.
Well, he was.
Oh, he was the last. Well, no, but according to, he wasn't the last of the Nottoway, of the Cherokee Nottoway tribe, though. Tell us about him.
Well, my grandfather, he passed away in 1960, and I was born in 1947, and he married. It was a black woman, and they had one child, which was my mother. But I had a chance to meet him, and because I was a young fellow when he passed away, and he was kind of a quiet man. He didn't hardly say anything, and now it's coming clear as why he was so quiet, because what happened to his people. And
did he talk to you about your heritage?
No. Yeah, I used to ask my mother, I said, why is my grandfather so quiet? He never had much to say. And it's coming pretty clear to me as why he was so quiet.
Because at that time, they did not talk about being Indians because you could be jailed, correct?
Exactly. There was a lot of bad things that could have happened to you if you were native and if you were caught off the reservation. In some cases, you could be shot on sight. Okay, but getting back to William Lamb, who Paramore and Floyd Painter, Paramore wrote the history of Southampton County, said was the last Cherokee Nottoway riding a bicycle in Cortland. Again, we know that was not true because William Lamb Howell, who was my war chief, is his grandson. But that's typical of what happened to first Americans in the Commonwealth. How things were done to actually change, not only to change one's race, but to change one's ethnicity, to take away their traditions, to take away their cultures, etc. And I'd like to go back to the 1808 Cherokee Nottoway Indian census to my fifth foster great-grandmother, who was Queen Edith Turner. Her name was really Wane Runsira, but the whites called her Turner. And the names, the colonial names, were given to us the same basically as the slave mentality.
The slaves were, yeah.
If your mother was a slave and living on a reservation, that means your child was a slave and that you took on the name of the master. So what had happened with native people, we didn't have colonial names. We had native names. My fourth great-grandmother's name was Carahoot. That was her native name. But when they did the census, they pinned her as being Mary Polly Whitson, who married Pearson Turner and became Mary Turner and went over to Artistown in 1825 along with the Bozeman, the Browns, the Artists, the Boones, and the Whitsons, and just stayed there until the early 1990s.
So if you look at the records, then you would think that there would be no Indians in Southampton County, of Cherahaka Nottoway Indians, but we know that there are. So when did this shift change for people to start researching and accepting their Native heritage?
Well, I give you an example of my family. My grandfather had 18 kids, okay? And he always shared with us of a Native heritage. His wife was Ophelia Rogers. That was my father's mother. She was the daughter of Alex Rogers, that is listed on the 1808 Cherokee Indian census, who was tried for murder in 1820 and found guilty of second-degree murder. Did 12 years of hard labor, got out, and went into Nansemond County, married, and went over to Hertford County. But at that time, Native people could not testify for each other. I have the whole court case. It was really self-defense. Now, Native people, my people, were classified as mulatto. Okay. Now that was a term that not necessarily mean half white, half black, or half Indian, half white, or half Indian, half black. It was a term that the colonials created back in the early 1700s, and in reality, in many cases, it means purebred Native American. And that term mulatto, I mean, the first one was 1824, the first Racial Integrity Act, 1824, and then 1924 was the last one in Virginia that was brought about during the Pleckerism. So when you're doing genealogical searches, unless you can talk to your ancestors, your parents, your grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and I tell people when I do presentations, talk to your people and ask, from whence came I? So I can know how far I still have to go, okay? Because parents, your grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and I tell people when I do presentations, talk to your people and ask, from whence came I? So I can know how far I still have to go, okay?
From whence came I? Right? From whence came I? See what that brother said? That sounds familiar, don't it? That sounds real familiar. All right, let's go to some scripture. Job 8:8. Right? Job 8:8 says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, but our days upon earth are a shadow." So we gotta be circumspect and ask our forefathers, man, ask our fathers and mothers, and our elderly, to see where we came from in the history, man. And that's what a lot of young kids don't do today, bro. They don't want to ask or talk to the elderly. No respect for the elderly. You understand? No desire to know where they came from. No desire to know anything further than what they know is in their phone. You know what I mean? But like he said, he he's speaking to the spirit right now, right? Deuteronomy 4 and verse 32. Deuteronomy 4 and 32, it says, "For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that God created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of the earth unto the other, whether there hath been any such thing as this great thing, or hath been heard like it." Right. So throughout all time, we've been having to ask our forefathers and find out things from the past, from our forefathers and foremothers, man. So the time that we live in now, where there's no respect unto the elderly, and no respect unto our people that are above us, that have raised us. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things just get lost in history, man, and you'll never find out. That's why we got to ask, and talk to our elderly sometimes, man. Right? One more scripture. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 5, it says, "For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again." You see that? So we gotta continue to ask the past, man. What's our history? Where do we come from? And my father don't even know, not a slight to him, but it's just a part of the curses. He hardly knew anything about his father. So, that's just lost to me. I don't have that. I don't know anybody past my father, as far as, patrilineal. I don't know anything. I'd have to, go to, use one of these services to find out, anything about my father's father, if I got any more family, from his father, if he had any other kids other than my dad, with another woman somewhere, in this country. So I may have more family out here, but when you don't talk to your parents, it's like, how do you know these things? So, but this is very important what this brother's saying, though.
Go ahead.
Let me ask Dr. Bozier. Talk to me about the relationship then, as Indians started to assimilate into other cultures because they weren't recognized on their own. What was happening back then?
Yes, and especially when I was growing up, it was standoffish between the Indian Native American community and the African American community because of what had happened to them with past relationships, and the Plecker and Dr. Plecker's very active role in the 1920s. So there was, and of course that has always been the case in the history of any organization. The majority group tend to divide those minorities and keep them separated.
But is the relationship any better? Has it changed?
Sure, the relationship is better. A lot of us as first Americans were amalgamated into schools for free people of color. Okay, I remember my first time going to school. I walked 2.5 miles a day round trip to a school called Diamond Grove School, founded in 1919 under the Rose Wall. Okay, it was another school that my parents and them went to out of Artisttown. Then it became the Rose Wall School in 1919. It ended in 1957. Okay, so I had to walk to this school, and I walked back and forth. So there's an amalgamation not only between free people of color and Native people. There was an amalgamation also between colonials. I mean, that happened. Matter of fact, that was one of the things that William Byrd, who was involved in the dividing line between Virginia and North Carolina, and Alexandra Spotswood, was trying to amalgamate Native people with other races to get rid of the Indians. Now, when you look at the Byrd papers, and you would read his diary on April the 7th, 1728, he actually visited our reservation in Jerusalem, Cortland, Virginia. And what's so interesting about that, he described how our people look. He said the young men came out and their faces were painted and they made all kinds of grotesque figures, and they danced for him to the sound of a gore drum stretched tight with an animal skin. Then he said the young women came out and they were tall and shapely and dressed in their finery. Their hair was braided, and they had white and blue conch shells in their hair that hung like locks and around their neck. And then they had wrapped around their body a match coat, which was red and blue, which is a shawl, that fitted loosely about their body, that their mahogany skin shone through. Then he went let me get this point. He went on to say that these dark angels would make exceptional wives for the English planters, and their dark skin would bleach out in 2 generations, unquote. That's a quote that he made.
So that was the whole goal, was to try to bleach out, as they say.
Yeah, but it kind of tells you that first Americans were a rich brown people. They were mahogany in color.
How many Cherahawk and Nottoway Indians are there today?
We have 282 in our tribe.
282.
That can do a paper trail from a genealogical aspect back to an ethnohistoric Cherahawk and Nottoway Indian surname. That's the only. If you read the Constitution and bylaws on our website, the only way you can join the tribe. You can't say, "Well, I'm Cherahawk and Nottoway. I got the blood. I'm going to join the tribe." You have to show us a paper trail.
You have to be able to trace it.
Yeah.
Now, and Dr. Bozier, I want to turn to you on this part, because if the records say, the birth certificate says Negro, the marriage certificates, et cetera, how do you work past that to prove the
the government is very sympathetic today in light of what happened to the Native Americans in the 1920s in Virginia in particular. So the federal government and even the state, at least the state government is very, very sympathetic about that, but I think there's still a pushback as far as the federal government is concerned in extending recognition to them. And even as I've done research in the various county censuses over the years, I had a very frustrating time in coming across some people who identified as free black in one instance and even white in other instances. Very seldom are they designated as Native Americans, but you see that and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And I know some families who are present day families, I won't mention the family, but because those families are descendants that I know, it probably was a Native American aspect to that confusion
to the family
in the early 19th century. Yes.
Exactly. What you have state recognition?
Yes, we have state recognition,
and you're going for federal. Okay,
we're working on federal recognition.
And if you get federal recognition, what does that mean for the tribe?
Well, that provides some additional resources as far as grant dollars and funding for education, etc. and also for starting businesses. State recognition, the way it stands now, basically gives us additional access to grants for schools that were originally founded for Native Americans. And I can say this too, also Hampton University, and Hampton University was the second school in the Commonwealth outside of William and Mary and the Brafferton in 1711 that amalgamated Native Americans. They had some 55 different tribes there from 1885 up until 1926. Matter of fact, those buildings and part of the land that Hampton University sits on was given free gratis by an anonymous donor out of Boston.
You know what's really interesting? We called Hampton University because we knew that they had the school, and their response and why they didn't want to come on the show was that they felt that they didn't have enough of the history to be able to speak about it.
Well, I would debate with them on that because there are a number of books that have been written on it, and actually I have a list of all the tribes that attended Hampton University during that period. And
go ahead.
The cemetery off there.
The cemetery
out there will tell you quite a bit. Yes,
exactly.
Okay, I want to get to some of the regalia that you're wearing and so forth. I want to ask War Chief Howell, first of all, what exactly is a war chief? What do you do?
The war chief is like a security officer. You know, anything going on in the tribe wrong, I step in and handle it. If anyone, if they can't do their anything.
What exactly is a war chief? What do you do?
The war chief is like a security officer. You know, anything going on in the tribe wrong, I step in and handle it.
You heard what the brother said? He said, anything going on wrong in the tribe, I step in and I handle it. Right? War chief. Right? Now, we know about the tribe of Gad and Reuben, right? Reuben and Gad, right? They're of a tribe of war. Right? They are men that let me just get the scripture. I ain't gonna butcher it. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 5. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 5 and 18. Right? It says the sons of Reuben and the Gadites, right? And half the tribe of Manasseh of valiant men, men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with the bow, and skillful in war. Right? And you see that? This is our brothers and sisters, man. What are the odds that we are the war tribe? You know, what are the odds of that? You know what I'm saying? Like that just think about that. As much effort that these devils put into putting, filth and degradation and, destroying the so-called African American men, that look like this brother here and his descendants, to make sure we're at the bottom. Maybe it's a strategy to that, right? And we know the scriptures say in the book of Psalm that, these devils, they think deeply about things, right? The thoughts of every one of them is deep. So if the majority of us are of the same tribe as this brother is a chief, you know what I'm saying? No wonder why they fought so hard to destroy our minds and our children and our women. Because if they didn't, it'll be over for them, man. But you know what the prophecy says? Right? Let's go to Genesis 49.
Salakia.
Genesis 49 and verse 19.
Salakia.
It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Right? That's what's going to happen. At the end of this, when the two tribes come together, right? Judah and Ephraim come together, that's prophesied in Ezekiel 37. When the Most High has that happen, it's over for this nation. Right? It's over for that. It's for this nation, man. But this brother is he's speaking truth here. This is what he does. He's a war tribe. Crazy, man. This is crazy.
If anyone, if they can't do their job, I have to be able to step in and do anybody's job in the tribe.
Oh, okay.
In the absence of the chief, if he can't make it, I step in his absence and do his job. So my job is just like a police officer.
See, I didn't know that.
He's a negotiator also, in case we have problems.
Is there a meaning to the feathers in your headwear?
The Chief Brown have done the
He's wearing a
research on the
Gustoa.
Okay.
In our Iroquois language, we say Gustoa. And War Chief, he has one feather. I have three
right, I
feathers.
noticed
Okay.
that, yeah.
But we didn't wear the long flowing head feathers. Many of us in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, early 1800s rather.
And just a quick note, notice what he said. Iroquois, right? Keep that in mind, Iroquois.
Ran around bare chested and just a breech cloth. Okay, men and women. So this is something that has been promulgated by way of television and Hollywood. But Western tribes out west, they wore the long eagle staffs. Yes,
okay.
I mean with the eagle feathers and the eagle bonnet. But we didn't wear that. We were.
Your people were hunters. Hunters and fishermen.
Yes, exactly. And farmers. We raised hogs. We trapped. We cured hides, and we hunted and we fished. And the ikiing, the women did all the work.
The women did the work.
We had a great society, didn't we?
You know I'm gonna get you for that one. Now I made the mistake of almost touching the staff. Talk to me about that.
Staff.
Yes, your staff.
Well, one of the things. This is not an eagle staff. This is my chief's hawk staff.
Okay.
The eagle staff is like our U.S. flag, and it's normally handled by the iniha, which is men in our Iroquois language. Also the drum. Normally women don't drum, but some tribes have a women's group that drum. But normally the men do the drumming and the women they sing in the background.
Do the singing.
Right.
So
that's a part of our tradition and a part of our culture, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do in the tribe. We're trying to rekindle and bring back to life our traditions and our culture. And that's one of the reasons why we recently acquired 100 acres of our former 41,000 acres of reservation land granted to us by the House of Burgess in 1705, and we're putting up what we call a Katasharai town, which is a palisade interactive Native American village, a tribal education center, and a museum, of which we're going to be putting artifacts in, etc.
And this is in Southampton County, where you were originally
right.
done. And you're also having a powwow.
Yes, we have a powwow July the 24th and the 25th. It's a celebration of the green corn harvest when the roasting years are ready. So come out and get a ear of corn, etc. But this is our 9th annual powwow that we've done at the Southampton County Fairground in Cortland, Virginia. But this is really the 15th powwow. We do powwows in Nottoway County because that's where we had first ethnohistoric contact with the colonials when they were looking for the lost colony in Manioc in 1608 at a village called Tamahitin in Nottoway County. And that's the second Saturday of October. Then we do a powwow also at First Landing Foundation Historical Villages at Fort Story, October the 19th, correction, November the 19th and November the 20th. November the 19th is a school day. We did that last year and had
and you bring students.
Yes.
And is that the way that you're teaching young people and teaching the newer generations about your tribe?
Yes. And one of the concerns we have is that it's the lack of history relevant to the SOLs pertaining to Iroquois speakers. And getting back to our language that was recorded by John Wood, professor of mathematics at William and Mary in 1820. Thomas Jefferson bought the language in August of 1820. He thought we were Algonquin speakers, so he sent it to Peter de Pontier, a student of Indian languages in Philadelphia. And we have letters of interchange between Jefferson and Peter de Pontier, where de Pontier told Jefferson that our language was unequivocally Iroquois, that the dialect was similar to the Mohawk, the Cayuga, the Nida, and the Tuscarora. So, and I walked the language, and I just spoke to you in a few words a few minutes ago. And but we have a very rich heritage in Southampton County, and we do refer to ourselves as the Cherrin-Haka Nottoway Indian Tribe of Southampton County, Virginia, because that's where all the court documents are, to include the Jeremiah Cobb court case that took place in 1849, and Judge Rich Baker dropped the gavel in 1851 and awarded us $818.82. A lot of money.
A lot of money back in that time.
Yeah, exactly. So we always said that if the Commonwealth of Virginia, by way of the Chancery Superior Courts of Southampton County, awarded us $818.82 in 1851 as a tribe, and there's never been any law, policy, or act to negate that, then who's going to tell us that we're not recognized?
That you're not recognized.
So that's what we took to the General Assembly.
So today, what is the relationship like between African Americans and Native Americans in Southampton County? And we got less than a minute.
Yeah, if you come to my powwow, you'll see that it's great. Okay. Because it's about a 50-50 split there, okay? And there's an amalgamation, as I said earlier, not only between African Americans, but also with Caucasians also. But when you come to our powwow, it is a, as Jesse Jackson would say, a rainbow coalition. Okay, you see a hue of color out there. Okay, not only in regalia but also in complexion. It's a beautiful time that we have. We're drumming, we're dancing, we're singing praises and dancing to the Creator that we refer to as Kwekahante in our language. We say Kwekahante Wintika, which is the Great Spirit.
Okay, let me remind folks again, the 9th annual Cherahaka Nottoway Indian Powwow and Gathering. It is July 24th and 25th, 10 to 7 at Southampton County Fairgrounds in Cortland. And if you want more information, you can go to cherahakanottoway.org. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us, Bob. I really appreciate it.
It's fascinating history, and
really
I'm glad
appreciate
to know
it.
about it.
And it's good to see the good doctor again. He probably don't recognize me, but I'm also an alumni of Norfolk State University. Okay.
There we go. Thank you. And when we
I left
come
there
back,
in 7. You probably weren't even there then.
All right, Chief, we got to go.
Thank you so much.
Back, melodic voices from Africa. But first, here's what's happening in Hampton Roads.
Don't come so high.
You're not done yet. You're not.
Salakia King.
Done. So y'all see.
You hear Antigua.
Right?
Salakia, when you hear
going on.
Shalom, family.
All right, we got a lot of information out today. So it's getting late, and it's the latest I ever held this class, y'all. So lock it. But yeah, man, we that's it. You know.
Salakia.
Go ahead, sis.
I think Methathia was trying to say something, or her brother. I wasn't sure you can hear him.
Oh no, so like somebody wanted to say something earlier? My bad. I couldn't hear.
Did you hear Antigua in that video?
You said Antigua?
Done.
Kind of what the chief was saying?
Yeah. Antigua. We're talking about antiquity. It's about our forefathers and everything that came before us. Like this resonates with me because my grandmother was the person that brought me into the truth. She was like, "Yo, you're Black Cherokee. You're Cherokee. You're indigenous to the land." On my mother's, actually no, actually on my father's side, to be honest with you. As I'm digging into the history, there's a reason where history is shut off on America.
Right.
But no, when you deal with antiquity, you heard that Spanish, English, Greek, German, all those languages are the same language. You just have to understand what they're saying when they say it.
Yeah.
But our history is evident throughout. My grandmother was the one that brought me into the truth. She told me you're Cherokee, you're a Black Jew. That's what she told me before she passed away. But nobody else in my family knows that either. So it just gives more validation to everything else. At the same time, you have to listen to what you see and what you hear. You literally have to decipher the bullshit from the real talk. So I get from my language. Yeah. But yeah, you have to literally filter through everything.
Yeah. It's called chew the meat, spit the bones.
Right. Right.
That's right.
Yes. Every single one of you on this call are the children of the Most High God. And walk that way. Irregardless of what anybody thinks about you. Your Most High God, walk that way. You're untouchable. Unless the Most High allows you to be touched. I yield.
God.
Yeah, man. I can speak in truth. We all are the children of the Most High, you know, and He's in control. Like I said, unless He allows you to be touched, you know, the only way you're gonna be touched is if you know you break the law and you're not being diligent and listening to Him, right? Same way you tell a child not to do something, you know, your son or your daughter, you know, make sure you stay close to me. You know, we in a dangerous area, stay by my side. You know, once you don't listen and you go around, you get got. You know, you get yourself hurt. You know, but yeah, this is look at this picture right here. Indian chief, white horse eagle, right? They say in Paris, but I searched Iroquois, right?
Salakia.
Go ahead, King. He got the fringes on his knees.
No, it's just a greater point of joy for me, knowing and understand my history and my culture, and that even outside of my father, my grandmother, before she passed away, told me who I was. That's how I came to the knowledge of the truth. She's like, yo, you child of the Most High God. And she's a Cherokee Indian. So she already put that in my mind. Jordan already knows the story, but it's amazing how I'm watching it play out, and I'm starting to understand my portion in it as well at the same time. All praise to the Most High.
God, all praise the Most High. Yeah, man, the Most High definitely gonna reveal it to you, bro. Like he said, knowledge shall increase, right? Even in the end times, it's gonna be dream, and see visions. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things gonna be revealed to you in this time. You know, a lot of things gonna start making sense. You know, a lot of things that never made sense to you about this country, about the place that we live in. The more we read and the more we bring these things out to you, the more you read the scriptures, and the more the so-called white man shows his hand and his true intention in the earth, the more this thing called life, what we call life, makes sense. And what your purpose is, who you are, and who our God is and who we're supposed to serve. And what's important in this earth right now. Right? And where you're gonna go and where you came from. Right? Knowing where you came from and then knowing when you're gonna go. Which all around is important. Right? But you know, we seen the brother, you know, mention the, you know, the Iroquois. Right? It says many tribes such as the Iroquois and the Shawnee, Cherokee, and Creek fought with British loyalists. Others, including
it's the Iroquois.
Potawatomi, and the Delaware sided with American patriots, right? Now, when we looked at a lot of these pictures, I gotta search Iroquois. That's the picture we was looking at, right? With the elders, right? The Iroquois, the brother said. Okay. It's the war tribe. Nah, y'all. Appreciate y'all joining me for the lesson. Um, you know, it's a lot more information I'm gonna bring out on this, and with some more books. So this is part 2 to Indians of Bucks County 250 years ago, and I'm it's a lot. I'm gonna, of course, I'm gonna do a part 3, but Lord will, y'all learned a lot, and y'all got some evidence under your belt, man, and y'all further convinced in your own heart about who your brothers and sisters are. Not just by me, but via the Most High. The Most High convince you and give you a mind and ears to understand and to hear and believe. And who you are, and who you may be, and what tribe you may be from. So, with that, if any brothers and sisters had any further questions, by all means, or just comment something you wanted to say, by all means, bring it out. If not, we're gonna close on out. We're gonna close out the second part, and maybe next week I'll bring out part 3 of this.
Slocky.
Later time. Go ahead, King.
Excellent lesson. Very informative.
Okay. All praise to the Most High.